Hello, my name's Katie Duxbury. I'm a costume maker and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a circle crown inspired by Pomalina, which is a costume character that I have made. This is Pomalina. She featured at Make My Day a couple of years ago as part of Creatures Collective, and we're a group who have been bringing different creatures to Make My Day for the last few years. So here she is having lots of fun at Make My Day. Just to show you a couple of my other creations, on the left here we've got the Snoctopus, who has also appeared at Make My Day. The name comes from a snowy octopus, that was the idea, but a few more limbs. And we also have the Tent Dragon, which is made from a broken tent which I rescued from a skip. For this activity you will need coloured card. About 5 sheets of A4 will do it, or you could use felt instead. You will also need scissors, a stapler, some sellotape and a pen or pencil. You will also need to find around the house a selection of cups, plates and saucers. I'll describe these as we go along. So let's get started. To begin with, take 1 sheet of A4 card and fold it in half lengthways to get a crease down the middle, which you then cut to make 2 long pieces. Fold these pieces in half lengthways. Next, take another piece of card, I've chosen a different colour, and line up a plate so that it is halfway onto the card. Draw around the plate and then cut out the half moon shape. This will be the basis for your crown, so you can choose a plate according to how big you would like your crown to be. Staple or tape one of your folded strips onto either side of the half moon as pictured. Your crown will be joined at the back like this, but don't fix it yet, as decorating the front will be easier before doing this. But you might like to try it on now to check the strips are long enough to go around your head, and that you are happy with the size of the half moon. Next, lay your crown flat to decorate the half moon. I've used some silver tape to make a sunray design. You could alternatively use some foil or a different colour of card. Now you need to find 3 mugs or glasses from around your house that are all different sizes. Now you need to cut out 6 circles of each size. Now you need to make a hole in the centre of every circle. I find the easiest way of doing this is to fold the circle in half but without creasing it, just gently, so that you can make a tiny snip in the middle of the circle. You could also try pushing a pen or a pencil through the circle if you have something soft to push through, like a bit of blue tack, but be careful what you use if you're going to do that. Now you need to decide which arrangement of circles you want to go with. If you look at this picture, you'll notice that there is not one of them that is the same as another one. There's 6 different varieties that you can come up with the 3 colours. So if you want a little bit of a challenge, you can try and find all the 6 varieties. But if not, then you can do whatever you like. As you can see here, I've used a split pin to go through the centre of each pile. If you don't have split pins, you could use something like a stapler instead, or maybe even stitch through it if you can sew, or a bit of sellotape. So use a bit of creativity to find a way that works for you. Now it's time to arrange your circles on your crown. As you can see, I've affixed 5 to the front here, and then I've used the final one to join my card together at the back to complete the circle of the crown so that you can put it on. Just a quick look at the back view. You might want to continue some of the silver design round the back. Most of that will be covered by your head, but you might be able to see a bit of it, so if you like you can continue the design round the back. And you might even want to be a bit more clever than me and line it up with where your push pins have gone through so that it's got a neater finish. A handy tip is any split pins or staples that you've got sticking out inside the brim of your crown. It's a really good idea to just put a bit of sellotape over them so that it doesn't get tangled in your hair when you wear the crown. Here you can see a couple of upgrades you could do to your crown if you wanted. You can see here there is an arrangement of circles made using felt instead of card, and I've put a nice button in the middle instead of a pin, so if you've got any buttons at home you might want to use those. And I'm also going to show you how to make one of these tassels which you can hang from the sides of your crown if you like. So what I'm going to start with is a piece of card here. This is a couple of inches tall. It's not too precise. So start by holding a piece of wool like this and wrap round about 20 times. And when you've done that, you can cut the wool off and put your card down. So both of my open ends of wool are at the same end of the card. Now I'm going to cut another piece of wool. It needs to be the length of the wool here that's going to have the card circles threaded onto it. So as a rough guide, I'm just cutting it the length of my arm. And now I'm going to thread it underneath the wool that I've wrapped on. And I'm pulling it until, if I hold both ends, I pull it taut until the middle is lined up with that point there. And then I'm going to tie a knot like this, and a second one to make sure it's nice and secure. That knot is at the opposite end to my loose unfinished ends here. And now I'm going to cut through all of the layers and take out the card. So I've got a little pom-pom on the end of two pieces of wool, like so. Now I'm going to take one of these pieces and I'm going to put a little needle on the end. If you've not got a needle, you can use something like a hairpin or just a piece of wire folded in half. And I'm going to choose some circles which I'm going to thread onto my garland. So I'm going to have a bit of a traffic light effect with alternating colours like this. I'm going to put 6 on in the order that I want them to be hanging. And they're all threaded onto one piece of wool. Now I'm going to take the needle off that one. I'm going to put it on the other side, on the other piece of wool, like this. Now take your bottom circle and just put the others a bit further up, but don't unthread them. So now what you need to do is, with the second piece of wool, you need to go through the centre of this one, but in the opposite direction to the wool that's already threaded through it. So I'm going in from this side. And then pull that nice and tight, like that. Now what I'm going to do is tie a knot before I pull my next circle down. So I'm just going to go over that one and through the hole like this. And then pull that knot down until it's just resting on the top of that circle. It doesn't need to be tight, but it's just going to make sure that the next circle can't slip down any lower than this one. So now I will take my next circle that I've already pre-threaded and rest it next to that knot there and do the same again. So go through the hole in the opposite direction to the previous wool and pull it tight. Tie a knot like this and then pull that knot down. And then you keep doing that until you've used all of your circles up. So I'll just keep going to show you a few more. they start to get in the way, you can slide them a bit further up out of the way and then bring each one down in turn. The reason why I pre-threaded them is just so you don't need to keep swapping which piece of wool the needle is on. And that's all there is to it. So you could stop with 3 if you wanted, you could do 6, you could do 9, any order that you like of different colours. But this is the way that I like them. There we go. And one final one left, making sure I'm going the opposite way. For the top one, I'm just going to tie the strings like this. And there we have it. If you're still keen to do more, you might want to try making a pom-pom as well. I'll show you how to do that now. First, take a glass and draw around it twice onto some strong card. I've used a cereal box here, which is really good for this, but if you've got some cardboard that works too. Then cut out your circles. Now take something much smaller, like a bottle lid or a small coin, maybe a 2p coin, and draw around that in the centre of your card circles and then cut that out. The proportions you can see in the picture is a good proportion to aim for. Now put your circles one on top of the other and begin to wrap wool around both of them at the same time. So you go around the outside and through the middle. When you've got the hang of that, you can speed the process up by winding several lengths of wool at the same time. When you finish a length of wool, hold on to it with your thumb and then line up your new piece of wool on top of the old one so that when you start wrapping around it, you will secure them all in place together. You can use more than one colour in your pom-pom. When you run out of one, just start again with a different colour and lay them on top of each other as you go round. Try to wrap the wool evenly as you go around, so keep rotating the circle and keep on going round. You can see that in the 2 colours that I've used here, how I've continued to go around rather than building up lots in the same spot. When the hole in the centre starts to get a little bit difficult to pull the wool through, you can keep going by using a safety pin or a bit of bent wire, maybe a hairpin, to use as a needle so that you can keep on threading it through more easily, because ideally you want to fill up the hole rather than leaving it loose. This pom-pom is nearly ready now. You can see how I've just gone back to just a couple of lengths of wool just while I finish the last bit off, once it's got a bit too difficult to send several through at the same time. This is just how you want your pom-pom to look when you stop winding wool. Don't push too much through. Once it looks like this, that's enough. If you force too much through, you could risk damaging the card or splitting the card, which would cause it to all fall apart. So stop when it looks like this. Now you need to carefully snip around the edge of the circle using scissors. So you're not cutting the card, you're just cutting the wool. You might be able to slide the scissors between the 2 discs of card, which helps you to cut through the wool. You can see now how it's important that the wool is quite tightly wound through the central hole, because that's the only thing that's holding it all in place at the moment while you cut around the edge. Now we have the most critical part of the pom-pom. You need to tie a piece of wool between the cardboard discs and around the pom-pom in order to secure it. As you can see, I'm using double lengths of wool because I think that that makes it stronger. And the most disappointing thing, believe me, is when your pom-pom falls apart at the end. So I am choosing here to tie a second double length of wool around the middle so that it's extra securely tied. When you are happy that your ties feel nice and tight, leave any tails that you've got on them hanging on, because you'll use that later in order to affix your pom-pom to something. So once you are happy that the ties are nice and tight, You can now snip into your cardboard circles, but be extra careful not to snip through the ties that you've just put in place. Now the moment has come to carefully peel your card circles out of your pom-pom. Make sure as you do so that you don't pull at any of the individual lengths of wool, and get a good firm hold of the pom-pom and carefully peel the card out. You can give your pom-pom a gentle shake and a little stroke and make sure it's sitting all nice, and then trim off any lengths that look like they're much longer than any of the others. Give it a bit of a groom and make it look all nice and neat. With the ties that you have left from your pom-pom, you can tie it into a bracelet or a necklace. You could affix it onto a bracelet or necklace that you already have, or you can tie it onto your jacket or whatever you like, or use it as a hanging decoration. The option is yours. Thank you for taking part in my workshop today. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I hope that you've made something new and had some fun.